Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Karen, and in this video I am going to be doing the All About the Reading tag. So I first saw this video in ABoolOlive's channel. I will link her channel down below. Olive is such a great booktuber. She is wonderful and her videos are really well made, and she's just one of my number ones for nonfiction, so she is incredible. So let's begin with the tag. I don't really do a lot of tags on my channel, but every time I do, I always get really excited because I love doing them. So I should probably start filming more tags on this channel. So the first question is a multiple choice question, and it says, what do you look for most when you pick up a book? A beautiful writing style, B, a character-driven story, or C, a plot-driven story. So I am going to cheat here a little bit because I need both A and C. I need beautiful writing and I need plot. I am one of those people that even if a book is really well written but it doesn't have a good plot, then I'm not very into it. If the book has a really great plot but the writing style is not really high quality or is not very lyrical or it's not very memorable, then I'm not going to enjoy the book to the, the highest potential that I can possibly enjoy it. So for me, I really do need a balance between those things. I don't really enjoy character-driven stories that much. They have to be specific and like I said, they have to have either really great writing or plot, otherwise I'm not going to enjoy them. And when I think about that, when I think about character-driven story, my mind automatically goes to The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. This is a huge book and it's all about one character. His name is Theo, and I really loved the character of Theo. I cared about him deeply when I was reading this, but because of the fact that I don't really get along with Donna Tartt's writing that much, she's too descriptive for me, she just writes too much, and because of the fact that the book barely has any plot, I couldn't enjoy it that much, and I know that it's not going to be a book that I will read over and over and over again. So character-driven books, not really my thing. Beautifully written books are definitely my thing, and I have recommended this plenty of times before on my channel, but this is one of the most beautiful books I've ever read, and I think that everyone should read it. And if you are somebody that loves lyrical language and absolutely beautiful words on the page, then you need to check this out. So question 2 is, what are your pet peeves in books? So my number one pet peeve of all time is when a writer introduces a plot point or writes a twist, and then that thing that was supposedly huge and that it was going to take a really big part of the story ends up getting resolved in like 1 page or 3 paragraphs. I hate that because it's such a letdown, and it makes me feel like the writer just doesn't want to do the job, that the writer just doesn't want to actually write this complex solution to this like really big thing that they decided to write. So they're just like, oh well, I can just write and then this happened and this got solved somehow and readers are going to be fine with it. I really hate it because it makes me feel like the writer has purposely avoided writing something because they feel like it's too hard or because they don't know how to solve a problem. Question 3. If you can print one quote on your wall, which one would it be? There's so many. Honestly, so many books that have incredible quotes that I would like all over my world, basically. But one of my favorite quotes of all time is by Oscar Wilde, and I'm gonna find it right now because I always seem to mess it up. The quote says, "We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars." So I have been kind of obsessed with this quote since I was about 15 years old. For a long time I thought that it was going to be a tattoo that I got on my back, and I'm kind of happy that I didn't do that because the quote's a little bit long and I would probably have regretted it, but it is a quote that I love, and it is a quote that I will definitely at some point have as a decoration of some like wall in my apartment or something, because I really love it. We all go through struggles, we all have difficulties and things that we need to overcome, but if you're looking at the stars, if you are looking up, you know, if you believe in positivity, and if you continue on thinking that things are going to get better and seeing the beauty around you rather than the darkness and the ugliness, then you can get through anything. Number 4, which genre would you like to explore more? Sci-fi, I think, is a genre that I like to explore more. I don't know, I've always wanted to be somebody that says that, like, they have read some really good sci-fi, because I never go anywhere near sci-fi books at all. And there's just some really interesting ones out there. So I think that sci-fi would be one of them. But also, this year I really want to explore fantasy more, and I've said that a couple of times. I've even made it a goal of mine for 2018. There's a video that I made about my 2018 goals. I will put a link at the bottom if you want to see that. I want to go back to fantasy because fantasy was one of my favorite genres, and I haven't read some good fantasy in a really long time, and I feel like I need to get back to my roots, you know? I love fantasy, I love magic, and I need to get back to that. Was there ever a movie adaptation you like better than the book? Yes, I'm going to pick Bridget Jones' Diary. I have loved the film with Renee Zellweger and Colin Firth forever. It is one of my absolute favorite films of all time. I identify with Bridget. I love her. I just think it's a wonderful, wonderful movie. And the book is really funny, and it's also very, very similar. I think that the film adaptation is a very true adaptation of the novel, but it fixes things, and it makes things that in the novel are a little bit too far-fetched, that are a little bit too crazy. It just brings it back to reality a little bit more. And I think that while I'm probably going to read this book again at some point in my life, I am not going to read it like 800 times. And I watch the movie pretty much like every 2 months. I'm watching Bridget Jones' Diary. It's one of my favorite films of all time, and it's so, so good. Number 7, a hyped book you wouldn't recommend at all. So I have a lot of books that I could have chosen for this question, but I am gonna go with a book that I absolutely hated, and I should probably unhaul it because I still own it, but I honestly, I think it's probably the worst book that I have ever read in my life. And I know that's it's really bad because this is such a popular book, and this series is like one of the biggest YA fantasy series out there, but that is Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. Is that her name? Yeah. This was awful. This was tropey and cliche and badly written, and it felt like fan fiction, and the characters were all annoying, and there was incest for no reason, and it is just horrible. So many people here in BookTube that this is like one of their favorites, if not their favorite fantasy series, but it's so bad. I don't even... And I hate that the cover is so beautiful, and I hate that it had potential, but it's just bad. It's just bad. A book that highly influenced your life and way of thinking. So for that one, I have to go with Into the Wild by Jon Krakauer. I read this for the first time when I was 16 years old, and I just remember sobbing because I was so affected by it, and it taught me such a giant lesson. Reading this book really taught me something that I carry with me every single day. And I am going to read you the little blurb that you have in the cover, because I think it does a better job than I ever will at describing what the book is about. It says, in April 1992, a young man from a well-to-do family hitchhiked to Alaska and walked alone into the wilderness north of Mountain McKinley. His name was Christopher Johnson McCandless. He had given $25,000 in savings to charity, abandoned his car and most of his possessions, burned all the cash in his wallet, and invented a new life for himself. 4 months later, his decomposed body was found by a moose hunter. This book taught me how important family is, and how yes, you can have dreams and you can have goals and you can think very differently than the people who love you, but that does not mean that you need to let go of those people. That does not mean that you have to alienate yourself because we are nothing if we are not surrounded by the people that we love. Family is so important, friendship is so important, and love really is the thing that keeps us going, and it is the thing that makes life worth living, and it goes above and beyond anything else. So this is a book that I highly recommend and that I think that everybody should read in their lifetime. Okay, so we're getting towards the end. Are you a fan of rereading books, and do you do it often? I don't reread books often, but I do reread my favorite books. So for example, like many people, I have reread the Harry Potter series a couple of times. I have also read some of my favorite like fun books, like for example, Love, Rosie, Austenland. I've also read Call Me By Your Name Again. So I do reread. I don't do it often, but in 1 year I will probably have about 3 rereads. Which book title could easily be the title of your life? Oh, this was such a hard question, and I honestly did not know what to pick for this question, and I just ended up going with How to Breathe Underwater. This is a short story collection by Julie Oringer. I love this short story collection, one of my favorites of all time. Such a special, unique book that really gets the feeling of being an adolescent girl right. This is a wonderful collection and one that I highly recommend to everybody. And I picked this one just because out of all the books on my shelf, this was the one that I could see being a title for my life, because it doesn't make a lot of sense, you know, as a human being you can't breathe underwater, but a lot of times in our lives we feel like we are underwater because things are overwhelming us, because we have so much weight that we have to carry on our shoulders. But we have to breathe through those moments. We have to get past them. There is nothing in life that we can't get past. And I don't know, I picked this one because I think that we should all learn how to breathe underwater. Even if, you know, it makes absolutely no real sense for us humans. I think that every single day we do a version of this. You know, we get through things and we get through struggles and we wake up to live another day. So we should all learn how to breathe underwater, and we should all attempt to breathe underwater whenever we feel like everything is just a little bit too much. And then the final question is, which book should be required reading for everyone? And I have 3 answers for this. Which I know it's a lot, but I couldn't help it. The first one is A Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This one is basically required reading for pretty much everybody in the United States. Have this book in pretty much all of our high school and all of our school reading list. So this is pretty much required reading, but it is such a great book. I honestly think it's one of the greatest books ever written. And just the usage of figurative language in here, and just the language. I mean, every paragraph in this book is incredible. There's nothing here that isn't memorable. And I just think it's a wonderful story, and it's really honest and just really wonderful. It's one of my favorite books of all time. Then I have Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. Never Let Me Go is a recent read for me, but I have loved the film for a very, very long time. Reading this took my breath away, and that is why I am including it as part of the answer for this question. It was gorgeous, the language was beautiful, the characters, and it just speaks about the beauty of human life in such a way that I've never read before. You know, it really is such a memorable book and such a special book, and Kazuo Ishiguro's language in here is quiet and subtle, but so impactful and so meaningful, and it's just a beauty. And finally, I have Sarah Waters' Fingersmith, because I think that everyone who is a historical fiction lover should read Fingersmith. I think that this is one of the greatest historical fiction books that have ever been written. It's a romp, and it has twists and turns, and it's delicious, and it's such a fun time. So I think that everybody should at least read one Sarah Waters book in their lifetime. I love Sarah Waters. She's, I think, my favorite living female writer. I think she's just incredible, and she has not let me down once, and I have read all of her books. So I think that this one should be read by everybody, and I would love for this one to be read by everybody. So yeah, that is all about the reading book tag, and I really loved this tag. I thought it was great. So if you happen to watch this, I tag you, I tag everyone. This is such a fun tag to do, and I really enjoyed myself doing it. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon in my next video, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.